Seems like the sun just keeps changing, so if the lighting keeps changing here, I'm sorry about that. Today, I am here to do a public service announcement and tell you guys about my Ticketmaster tragedy. And not only will I be explaining every single thing that happened for this, in order for this tragedy to occur, but I will also be giving you some tips so that you don't end up like I ended up. It was around, I'm not sure what month it was, but it was about maybe September, October, and my sister, who is like up in the Instagram game, got the news that there was gonna be an 80s concert coming up in Georgia. So she somehow, I'm not really sure how, but you know, she had the connections or something. She somehow was able to get a pre-sale code for both of us, so that we could get into the pre-sale for Ticketmaster, so we could go to the concert. So I've never technically gone to like a big concert like this for Ticketmaster. The only time I ever used Ticketmaster was one time where I bought tickets for a BTS concert. Now, am I an ARMY? No. Do I like BTS? Not really, but my sisters were going, and you know, I wanted to just hang out with them, so I bought the tickets. They weren't too expensive, but obviously this was in 2020, so the concert eventually got canceled and I got my money back. So when that happened, there wasn't really a struggle or a pre-sale situation. It was a much larger venue, so I didn't really struggle buying any tickets or anything like that. I just went and got the seats that I wanted, and I got some pretty like high up seats because I wasn't that invested enough to actually put money on it. So basically, with 80s, it was like a different situation. Now, I've been in the US for maybe about 4.5 years, and before that, in Puerto Rico, there's no Ticketmaster. Like, it's just, I think it's called Ticketmax or something. The only concert that I had bought by myself was an Il Volo concert, and there was no pre-sale thing for that. I just went there, I bought the tickets again, and I left. There was no, like, I don't think there was a lot of tickets still, like, up for sale. And yeah, there was no struggle or waiting line or anything. I just went online and I got the tickets. So I never had before the Ticketmaster experience that I was about to, well, experience. I don't know how else to say that without being redundant. So basically, I was just an innocent person that did not know what I was getting into in this pre-sale, you know? I assumed wrongfully that I was just gonna get there because, you know, I have the pre-sale code. I'm good. I'm not gonna have any issues in getting any tickets because, you know, I went in, I got the pre-sale code. But I was wrong. I was very wrong. So it was the day of the pre-sale to activate, you know? And I don't know if I just happened to have my day off, but I didn't have any work that day. So I just sat there, and I don't know why I had the brilliant idea to watch a movie while, like, the waiting list got activated. So basically, I decided that it was a great idea to just watch Tenet. To just watch Tenet while I waited for the pre-sale online gate to open, which I do not recommend. Like, don't do that. Do not watch Tenet or any what's that guy's name? I always forget the guy's name, but that guy's name. Don't watch that guy's movies. Christopher Nolan. I have to admit, I get Christopher Nolan and Nicolas Cage mixed. Not physically, just the name. I get them mixed up, but it was Christopher Nolan. Don't watch Christopher Nolan movies while you're waiting for your pre-sale. it's stressful, okay? Tenet had me on the edge of my seat, and I was already pre-stressed for the pre-sale. So I go to the pre-sale, and it gets activated, right? And there's like 2,000 and plus people ahead of me, right? I was there an hour before it opened, which I do not recommend. Don't do that. You're gonna have 2,000 people. It seems like the later you get in there, the faster you will get out, if that makes any sense. That's my theory. I don't have any scientific basis on this, but I was there an hour early and I didn't get anywhere. So I was there. Oh, and my sister went in later and she was able to get less people ahead of her. So that's sort of proof of that. So the thing is, I finally get in, like after all that time. It was like I was waiting for like, honestly, I think almost 2 hours. It was almost 2 hours just waiting there. I didn't know what else to do. I was just there waiting with my iPad. I had everything set up on my iPad. And finally, the online digital gate opened. And here's the thing. Before the pre-sale situation, they had posted on Instagram like the prices of like the VIP arena, whatever. The prices were very reasonable for the actual sale. By the time I got in there, and we're talking the day of the pre-sale, it wasn't even the official sale or anything, it was just like the day of the pre-sale. So the people that had the actual pre-sale code. By the time I went in there, everything was sold out. Like it was 100% resale. Like the VIP tickets that were supposed to be like $200, they were already at like $700 and $1,000. Like I could not even like get in there without anything being resale. And it was 2 days, I think, about 1 or 2 days before the actual sale. So I don't know what the people that went to the actual sale did, because it was crazy. And after that actually happened, it was like an absolute war zone. Like the lights, in Ticketmaster, I'm gonna see if I can put a picture on it. The lights, Ticketmaster has like these blue circles, right, that tell you if it's available. Those blue circles, like the whole map was just turning on and off, like blinking all over. It was like an absolute nightmare. If you were about to click, you could just move the mouse to like a certain blue point and it was already gone by the time the mouse reached the point. And I know a lot of people like recommend to just look at the list, but the dots of the available seats were going so fast, like it was really overwhelming. Like there was no way that I could just look up at the list without looking at the map. Like I couldn't just like grab a ticket because it just kept moving and it was just, everything was going on and off like super quick. Like it would disappear and then it would go back on resale, like $200 more expensive. It was an absolute nightmare. And I couldn't get any tickets actually at Ticketmaster. So I go there. Oh, and that's another thing. My sister initially told me that she had tickets, but then she realized she had only gotten one ticket at like an area slightly far away. Not too far away, but an average area on the first level. Because we wanted to get first level, not necessarily like GA, because we didn't want to stand up. But we did want to get a first level seat because this was gonna be a concert out of state and we were not gonna do like an 8-hour drive or whatever to go up on the second level. So then I go to like the resale places, like I go to like Vivid Seats and StubHub, and I researched for like any tickets, and I was able to get 2 tickets, and I think they were at StubHub. I might be wrong. I got 2 tickets that were about probably like 3 times the actual cost originally that we saw on Instagram. It was like 3 times the cost. And then there was also like $100 in fees. Like the amount of fees is almost like the price of another ticket. Like you're paying basically another ticket in fees. So my sister, because I had bought the tickets I bought, she thought they were too expensive. We decided to try if we could get some cheaper seats, because she had previously been able to sell some Stray Kids tickets so she could get a different seat. She wanted to exchange seats, so she just sold them and then got different seats. From her experience, she had gotten the money pretty much instantly. Like she didn't have any issues. She was able to sell her tickets and just switch seats, and she didn't have any issues at that time for the Stray Kids concert. And she told me that she had gotten the money immediately. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go and buy cheaper seats, and then I can just sell them for a little bit more, not like too much more. Just sell them, and then with that money, just like get the other seats. Once I did all that, because I got them at Vivid Seats, they wouldn't give me the seats, like the actual tickets. So I couldn't resell them until like a week before the concert. I had, instead of just buying one ticket, I bought, and I had obviously two for my sister. I had a total of 4 tickets that I had bought and 1 ticket that my sister had bought, and they were not selling like at all. Like nobody wanted those tickets, no matter how cheap we put them. Nobody was selling those tickets. That was a pretty stressful situation. So then after that, we were obviously pretty stressed out because they were not selling or anything. So we decided to just keep the best seats that we got, so the ones that I got, and just stay with those. And then we didn't know what we were gonna do with the other 4, because they were, of the 5 tickets, there was 1 ticket that was by itself. Then there were 2 sets of 2 on different areas of the arena, of the State Farm Arena. So we decided, you know what, we're still gonna go anyway. We're just gonna stay with those seats and just go to the best seats that we can, and then we'll eventually figure it out or give anybody an extra ticket. We try to like promote it, like tell people, like friends and stuff. We try to sell them and like put it on Instagram and in different places, like so people could know that we were selling them, and they still did not sell or anything. We were able to go to the concert actually, and I was so scared that this was gonna get like canceled or postponed, like the Stray Kids tickets, because we all know that the Texas and the Atlanta one got postponed. I was not one of those people that bought tickets, but I know that was an absolute nightmare, because people realized that the concert was canceled when they were there already. Like there were people in Atlanta that had paid for flights and hotels, and they didn't know that it had been canceled because they weren't informed properly. So that was a nightmare. So I was so scared that after all the money that I had spent, the concert was gonna get canceled. And that was like my biggest fear. Even the day of the actual concert, when I woke up, I was still stressed out. Like I would look up, because we drove there, and that was another issue, but the whole getting there is a story for another day. I was just always like checking online, like, is it still on? Because I could not believe that I was actually going there. So we actually were able to actually get there after 8.5 hours of driving. Yeah, it was intense. Yeah, just thinking about it is exhausting. Actually, it's just exhausting. The next time, I'm just gonna fly there. I'm just gonna save money, prepare, and fly there, because I don't think I'm gonna be able to just do the 8.5 hour, almost 9 hour driving. And I wasn't even driving, I was in the car, and I couldn't deal with it. Anyways, we were actually able to go to the concert. Did we sell the extra tickets? No. Did my parents and my other sister go for free to an 80s concert? Yes, they did. We actually had fun. Like, it was a really good concert. Like, the moment I got in there and I saw how close I actually was, I was like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't believe how close I was. Because I researched my seat on like View My Seat. I used it from myseat.com. Like I was looking up all the seats, but like the camera always is not the same as you actually being there. And my actual angle from the concert, like you could see them up like real close. Like it was really good. I really recommend the concert. It was 3 hours long. It did not feel like 3 hours, but it was 3 hours long. So at least I got my expensive and incredible amount of money's worth. So yeah, I definitely recommend going to an 80s concert. I think they did a really great job. It was really entertaining. It was fun. It was just a good time. But yeah, it was expensive, but it was definitely worth it. And even my parents can attest that it was a good concert, so that tells you how good the actual thing was. Do I regret actually spending that amount of money on a ticket? Absolutely not. Like, I had a really good time, but I definitely do regret buying more than one ticket. And that's what the next part of our video is, which is actual tips to kind of override or survive the Ticketmaster experience. Ticketmaster is basically ticket monopoly. It's very hard for you, like if you're going to any venue that's relatively large and it's not like a club or a bar or just a small venue, you're probably gonna have to deal with Ticketmaster for some way or another. The first tip is to have in your mind an amount of how much you're willing to pay. Now, this depends on the artist or how much you like the artist or the price of the situation. You have to put yourself into your mind, how much am I willing to pay for this? And then also, you have to be aware that that amount also has to include the fees. Now, most places that sell tickets, not only Ticketmaster, just places that sell tickets in general, they give you about $100 in fees and taxes. To be honest, it's just like $100 and something. So let's say in your mind, you're like, I don't know, I want to go see, I don't know, I was going to say Taylor Swift, but we all know how that's going. I don't know, maybe see Haim or TXT. But basically, I don't know, let's say you want to see Selena Gomez or something. And you're like, okay, for her concert, I only want to spend like $200, which I think it's going to be difficult, but you would have to put into context that you will be getting a $100 ticket and they pay $100 in fees. So anything that you're like, I'm going to be able to, I want to spend this, you have to put in your mind that I'm additionally spending $100 in fees, because that's the average situation. Now, in terms of the actual pre-sale and the whole map situation, it really depends on the artist. Some artists will just be able to get in there, and some, like ATs, will have the whole blinking light situation. And honestly, at that, you just have to do your best. I don't know. When I first was getting ready for the pre-sale, I watched so many YouTube videos on Ticketmaster tips, and to be honest, none of the tips worked. So, which is why I'm making this video, because we gotta give realistic advice. And I know that some people, maybe they just go to more indie concerts and just like smaller artists, or just artists that are in just either a smaller venue and they're not as popular, or they are popular and they're in a bigger venue, so it's harder for it to sell out. But if you have an artist that has like a medium venue, like I'm not talking about stadiums or coliseums, I'm talking about like arenas and theaters, like larger theaters, stuff like that, it's really hard to actually find tickets at a good price, and it's gonna be harder. So I would say just be aware how much you're willing to pay and stick to it. And also, this is gonna sound kind of weird, but if you feel like, or you want to have the option to sell the tickets just in case, do not buy from Vivid Seats, because Vivid Seats has slightly less fees, but they will not give you your ticket until a week approximately, or a couple of days before the concert, which means that you will not be able to sell the ticket. And also, if you're not like an official ticket reseller, they might not even let you sell the ticket either. I don't even know how I was able to sell it. I'm pretty sure I sold it on StubHub. It was a whole ordeal. Just don't, if you're gonna buy from them, be aware that you're not getting that money back unless it gets canceled. Like, you have to be 100% sure that you want those seats. Which leads me to my next tip, which is only buy the amount of tickets you need. Don't buy extra seats. Unless it's like, I don't know, maybe if you get like extra seats at like a Taylor Swift concert or something like that, where like everybody's gonna want that seat no matter what, then maybe you can risk it. But if you only need 2 seats, just make sure that those 2 seats are the ones you want. Don't worry or get stressed out or like rushed. Just make sure you pick the exact seats you want and stick with it, because it's gonna be hard to sell unless it's like I said, like a Taylor Swift or something. I feel like you could, but other than that, it's gonna be very difficult to sell, especially if they have more than one like function concert, because that's another problem we had, that there was because the sold out tickets, they did another show right after that one, which made it even harder because most people were just going to the other show instead of buying the ones in the original show. So those are my basic tips. Make sure that you're aware of how much you want to spend. Consider that you're probably gonna get like $100 in fees, and make sure you're prepared for that. Make sure that the place where you are buying the tickets, if you want the option to sell them, is a place that you will actually be able to sell them. And also make sure that there's no extra functions or extra concerts that might risk your ticket being basically unsellable. And also make sure that you're buying the amount of tickets that you need, and just don't buy any more tickets that you don't need. Just come there for what you're looking for. But basically, those are my top 4 tips for Ticketmaster. I hope you liked this video. Give it a like if you did, and subscribe to my channel for new updates. And I hope you have a good one. Bye.